are listening to the Rival and Queen podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah.
We're so happy everyone is joining us again for another Thursday, a new episode, Sarah.
Happy Thursday, everyone.
The end of season 1 is coming so quickly, but it's so exciting because we have so much more that we're planning and excited about for a few weeks away.
This is our second last episode of this season. So everyone, we're so happy to have you tuning in.
So happy.
And today we're going to be talking about all the goodness and juiciness of meditation, which I feel is like the start of the mystical realm.
Don't you find it's like such an uncharted territory for so many people?
Well, in the last week, 5 people have written me through Instagram asking me how they should start meditating. And I was like, I've got the perfect answer for you.
Yeah, no.
We've got a podcast episode on
I think this
it.
is going to be good because people have so many different assumptions, I want to say, about what meditation is and what it means and how to do it, but it's really not that much science. The hardest part is doing it and kind of sticking to that practice and daily. I think Johnathan, who is actually one of the people we're interviewing today, Johnathan Dododza and Autumn Grant, founders of Flo Meditation, he spoke so well in comparing it to working out. You're not just going to go to the gym one time and expect to see a result. And the same goes for meditation. It's not going to just kind of click and happen very easily, perhaps the first time. It's something you need to kind of work that muscle and keep doing. And Sarah, people probably reach out to you on Instagram because you're the meditation guru, I find.
I don't know about that, but I do love it. Like, honestly, I find it such a self-discovery process. And like, that's how I use it. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Well, I mean, that's not at all how I use it. But by getting into meditation, I have been able to get into self-discovery. And it's just like a vehicle for me to open my heart up to whatever my little heart wants to tell me.
I love it. And I think that gives people a really good reason to try because you, for one, speak so highly about how it benefits you. So I think it's just something people are so curious about exploring.
And I think, well, actually, so we talked about this in the episode, how I got into it, but I never asked you, how did you get into meditation? Because you meditate.
Yeah, I think that years ago I kind of tried, and it was with the Headspace app, which a lot of people are probably pretty familiar with, but that one, it just didn't really stick. And I kind of didn't really understand why I should be doing it. And then when I became friends with you, you do it and incorporate it in your daily life so well. And I was like, maybe I should try this again. And of course, more chaos and kind of stress and more anxiousness and things like that. The natural way, I guess, is to deal with it through meditation or journaling. So I think that kind of is what turned me more into it, perhaps. Over the last year, I would say. But it's something that I do want to kind of write down and like stick to a schedule of doing it so that I can be accountable for myself in trying it instead of just doing it and then not feeling any benefits because I'm not giving it enough time to kind of let my mind and body
get into the jam.
Sense. Yeah. Because I've only felt that kind of state a few times. So I think it's just like I need to keep doing it, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if I know when no, I have no point of reference for this, but what might work for you, I'm just throwing this out there, is if you for like 2 weeks, you're like, I'm going to do it at this time every day. Cause I know you're very good with like setting a goal and like, whereas I'll be like, I've changed my mind on this goal. I'm not into it. You're like, I'm very into it. I'm going to get my 64 days of working out in a row.
I try.
Whereas I'm like, I got to 29. I did pretty good.
No. And that's just, it is like, I want to stick to it, whether it's a time of day or just for 5 or 10 minutes and really simplify what it means and just see how, and write it down and kind of like see how I feel after so that I can see a bit of a difference and feel a bit of a progression in what I'm supposed to happen. I don't know. I think people just think this crazy thing's supposed to happen and your mind just shuts off and nothing happens. But I don't think that's really fair to assume, especially when you're first starting.
No, I think, okay, so actually, and also here's the other thing that we get into in this episode, and we'll tell you a little bit about what we talk about, but Jonathan did a good job of like, it's not necessarily to fix something. You know what I mean? Like you can meditate for many different reasons and it can help with those things, but it's also something you can do to just like appreciate life. But I will tell you some of the benefits, Ashley. I'm officially looking them up right now. The benefits of meditation. Um, here are the big ones. Better focus and concentration, improves self-awareness and self-esteem, lower levels of stress and anxiety, which is huge, and then fostering kindness. And it also helps your physical health, and it can improve your tolerance for pain, and fighting substance addiction. So it's like beyond, like the stress and anxiety one is huge, but beyond that, there's other massive benefits to meditating. I think it just helps you tune in more to yourself.
I think so too. And just let yourself just be. I think in a world that we're so overwhelmed and so overstimulated, even if you just sit, if people want to just start by just sitting quietly and doing nothing. And I think Jonathan or Autumn even say that, and just observe the room and just actually look around and kind of take that in. I think that's even a great way to start, is just to be still and quiet and alone is healthy too.
That's such a good point, because if meditation seems like a wild concept to you and something like you can't do that, that's fine. What I would encourage people to do or try to start to do, and I told this to Greg, your brother Ash, is like turn off your phone and every screen in your life for 10, 15 minutes every day. Like literally do not like have your phone on airplane mode. Every TV is off. Like don't have music on. Like actually turn everything off and just do whatever you want. Sit there if you can and really just see what comes up. Like you said, notice the room or something. If you don't feel like you're ready to meditate, but just actually unplug every day.
Yeah, remove the distractions because they're really easy to kind of see a text pop in or something, and then you're making up an excuse of why you don't want to be still. I think it's hard for people, and it's a good thing. I'm excited to embrace this journey, Sarah.
I know. Okay. One thing I do want to tell you, because we talk about this in the episode, and I don't know that I've ever told anyone this, but before I meditate, I didn't realize we talked about intentions. And I realized I kind of say like a prayer at the start of my meditation, which is like, seems funny to me. But honestly, I realized that this was like the intention I was setting every time I meditate. And what to say? I'm like, I got to say it in my head because I forget. I've never said it out loud.
Are you going to share it?
I'm going to share it. I think it's like, should I share it? Should I not? It might be weird.
It's up to you. No, I don't think it's weird, but as long as you're comfortable.
No, I say like, thank you to my highest. I thank my spirit guides, my soul. That's what I say. I'm like, thank you to my, spirit guides and the highest truth and compassion. I think I got that from Gabby Bernstein.
Oh my God. I'm
for
obsessed
guiding
with
me.
her.
And that's what I say at the start.
And
I'm
that's
like,
it.
no, I do go on because then I'm like, thank you for my soul. Like, thank you for showing me how to connect with my heart and soul, and like finding my soul's calling, and thanking the universe for kind of all the opportunities and asking for the right things for me to show up. And then I just surrender in peace, love, and oneness. That's actually what I say to myself.
See, okay. So when we're talking about that, setting an intention and also gratitude and being grateful, whether it's in the morning or after your meditation, whatever, I'm such an overthinker and a bit of a perfectionist that I'm like, is this what I should be saying that I'm grateful for? Is this what I should be saying, my intention? I have a lot of doubt in what I'm putting out there, but what you just said is so beautiful and just so um like it touches everything. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't have to pinpoint, well, I was grateful for this exact moment with this exact person. It's just like, I'm thanking everything for just being the way it is and accepting kind of what's happening on my path. And I think that's so nice, Sarah.
Yeah. And I like to ask for guidance. I'm like, just guide me to like my highest good and how I can be of service. And I think Oprah says that too. And it's nice to just, everyone can find their own thing that is nice. But I think it is nice to set an intention. After we had this conversation with them, I thought about that. And I was like, oh, I do set an intention every time. It's not like a particular thing necessarily.
That's
Oh, our
amazing. Oh my
hearts.
God. I listened, speaking of Oprah, yesterday, I listened to, I think, 2 or 3 of her podcasts. One was with Gabby Bernstein, and then I can't remember the other ones, but they were all about just like the whispers from the universe. And you can't necessarily ask the universe for, oh, will I get this new job or specific things, but it's just like, give me a sign, just ask the universe for all these things. And I'm like, wow, I think that meditation goes really well with that. Just
It
being
does.
connected.
I'm a huge fan of asking for guidance when you feel like lost or unclear about something. And like literally I'm like, show me what I need to know. I always do preface it with like, I'm asking out of highest goodness and compassion and things like that.
Mhm.
But I'm like, yeah,
Then it
show me
makes
what
it
you
less
need to know.
selfish or something. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
You can also kind of let go. Like I think I got into that habit when I was like truly at a loss and didn't know what to do. And I was like, I literally have nothing to lose. So hopefully like some sign will show up for me.
No, and I think that's great. A few years ago, I remember when we lived in our old house in Cole Harbor, I did that. I had a massive walk-in closet, and sometimes I would just sit in there with the door closed on the carpet, and like that's what I tried to do. But I don't know, I didn't stick with it, so I need to commit.
I think you'll have a moment.
Yeah, I think
I,
so, and I think that's you just need to keep doing it to feel.
totally. And I'm a big fan of like, just start. If you're not sure the right way to do it, just frigging start. But you can also listen to this podcast episode and find out exactly how to start.
Yeah.
So, Ash, should we introduce our guests for this evening,
Yes.
today?
Yeah, we had the lovely, I know I kind of gave a little spoiler, but the founders of Flo Meditation. So they're based here in Halifax, Johnathan Dododza and Autumn Grant. And they're actually a couple and they're so adorable. You can tell that they just love each other and have so much love for everyone. Their energy, I could feel it, Sarah, through the computer even last night. They're just so sweet. And we actually attended one of their sunset meditations a few weeks ago outside in a park, which was so lovely. They both kind of hand off the meditation a bit, which is nice. You hear their voices change and the energy changes a bit. So
Yeah, you talked about that, the nice balance they bring of like the masculine and the feminine. It's so nice.
well, and I think it's because your eyes are closed and you're listening and you just kind of like hear one voice and then you hear the other voice and it just, I don't know, stimulating in a cool way.
So, as you guys may have guessed, this episode is totally all about meditation. We actually, Johnathan and Autumn break it down for us, like how to actually start meditating. So, if you have never meditated before, you'll get that. And then, if you have meditated before, we talk about different practices, but we also talk about some really cool things like the like magic time for how long to meditate is in there. We, as you said, Ash, Johnathan does a great job of explaining like it's not instant gratification. And the other thing that we talked about, which really flipped a switch for me, is like it's not just something you need to do to solve a problem. Like meditation can be something you bring into your life as part of like a celebrating and helping to kind of really go deep in those moments that are like huge wins to let you embody and celebrate in an even deeper way all the goodness that's happening.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Sarah, because even on my birthday, we went to the beach, Jeff and I, early in the morning, and it was so sunny and beautiful. And I listened to a Gabby Bernstein podcast then, and I remember feeling so, it was my birthday, so I was feeling pretty good, but I felt so good just in that moment. So I think that the next time something amazing happens or you're in an amazing mood and you meditate, like I'm excited to see what happens and how it feels different to kind of use it to de-stress. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
very,
my God. Yeah.
very different, but I think both will feel amazing.
It's a nice mental shift to turn into something you also do to celebrate. Like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, we
Um,
all already decided that on your wedding day, whenever that happens in the near future, that we are going to do so many meditations.
we're gonna have everyone's meditating.
Imagine.
Oh my God, that's gonna be, I like think that's amazing.
I do
Um,
too.
one of my friends, Jennifer Smith, actually, she did that the morning her and her husband to be had a private meditation, which I thought was lovely. But I think let's
Mm.
get everyone involved.
We'll do a couple.
The more the merrier. Also, we want to give a huge congrats to Autumn and Jonathan, but Autumn just took the leap to being full-time in Flo Meditation. We are so amped for both of them. It's a really exciting time. And we do encourage you guys, if you are interested, you can book one-on-one sessions with Autumn or Jonathan, and they will help guide you and get you introduced. And you can also, they have a lot of group sessions, so you can get connected with them in a number of different ways. You can go to their website, which is flomeditation.ca. You can follow them on Instagram at flomeditation, FLO. And the other places, they actually have some recorded meditations on the Take 10 app. So you can grab that. And all those links are in our show notes. And that's it. I think you guys are going to love this. Everyone's going to be like heart open, ready to go, sitting on a cushion by the end of it.
Yeah, open your mind, open your heart, and I think everyone's going to enjoy this and really practical steps to get started. So let's dive in, Sarah.
Love it.
So we all need Zen in our lives. Sarah does a lot of meditation. I'm dabbling in meditation, trying to kind of make it more, not, I guess, less of a routine and more of a practice, and kind of embrace putting that into my daily life. So we're super excited and curious to learn more about Flo Meditation and about Autumn and Jonathan. So welcome, guys. We're so happy to see you.
Thank you so much. We are so happy to be here.
Thank you so much, guys. So happy to be here with you guys.
This is awesome. Can you guys tell us, well, we came across Flo Meditation. Ashley's been to one of your sessions. We've both been to actually one of your sessions, and we loved it. You guys create such a warm, welcoming environment.
Thank you.
And like, it's incredible. Can you guys tell us a little bit about Flo Meditation?
Absolutely. That's so nice to hear. Thank you. So Flow Meditation was founded on the idea of building a happier, healthier, and more connected society through mindfulness. So we opened 2 years ago, and we first had a little studio on Argyle Street. It was a lease takeover, and it was a really beautiful way to open up doors to the community and share what we had to offer. So we had the studio for the 6 months, and then we realized that it was even more beneficial to bring meditation to others. So we've now moved into a pop-up style and virtual style studio.
I love that. So you guys working with corporate groups and things like that as well?
Yes, absolutely. So we do, we pop up into fitness studios, corporate offices, and we work with sports teams, universities, schools.
Pretty much, yeah, that's it. Like, our goal is, like, it's always evolving. So we'll start off with the schools and everything else, and then from that going on, other people will start to hear about us, and we'll just grow like that. So it ends up going down avenues we never even thought it would.
For sure.
Yeah, we did our session, or I did the session with you, Ash. You've done a couple outside, and that like on a field in downtown Halifax. And that was like the loveliest meditation experience. Like Ash said, like, I meditate daily, but it's something so nice about being in the city and like feeling the wind on your face and your body. Like, I had the best time with that session.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's so awesome to hear. It's such a treat to be able to meditate outside, and we've really been trying to take advantage of the beautiful weather that we've been having this summer. So it's nice, and it's an interesting concept to have a meditation downtown in the middle of the city with surrounding noises, but those distractions are certainly a part of. It's all a part of the practice. So it's a really great way to indulge in that experience.
So can you guys tell us, like, how did this begin? How did you guys each get into meditation?
Sure. Would you like to share?
Yeah, sure. We met in Vancouver originally, and in Vancouver, we both worked for Lululemon, that encouraged us to have it be part of our schedules and become a routine, just to implore us and to encourage like being mindful and being aware of ourselves and everything else. So from that, we fell in love with the practice. It adhered to our lives. It really spoke to us in terms of the transitions that we were going through in our own lives. And from there, coming to Halifax, it was almost a no-brainer for us to kind of dive deep into the community, dive deep into like kind of that field. I was working at the store, so I quickly got to learn and become familiar with kind of those key players in the community, and it just encouraged me more to be like, this is like the place to have this idea, to have this goal, to bring this like concept into the play.
Hmm.
Ooh,
So it's so crazy to kind of even think about what gets everyone started in meditation. I feel like everyone has such a different journey or different need to kind of turn to meditation. Sarah, what I want to ask you, what made you start meditating? I'm just so curious because you're very into it.
So I would say I had a moment like, well, I've done it twice. So it's interesting to hear that you guys kind of started through work, because I think that's a really interesting way to get connected to it. I probably meditated in high school a little bit and through university. Like, it was just around me growing up. I don't really know how. But then when I closed my first company that I had 4 years ago, that was really a moment where I reconnected to meditation and made it part of my life, in the sense that I'm like, this is probably never going to go away, because it was just such a change in my life, like going from being hyper stressed, anxious, on working literally 70, 80 plus hours a week, to deciding consciously to turn that off. And I just knew I was at risk to be not like depressed. Like, I don't have depression or anything like that, but totally to move into kind of a dark space if I didn't take care of my well-being. And so I went to the woods. As Ashley knows, I love to do this when I go through transitions. I go into the woods for months. And I meditated every day and I worked out every day. And that was my only commitment to myself. And I started small at like 5 minutes, and then really started going up to like 20, 25 minutes. And I've kind of stayed there.
That's such a good point. And I think for us too, it was a really interesting point in our lives. We were working for Lululemon, and where we were almost, it was incorporated into our schedule. So we had to go to the meditation studio every week. And I think that the more we sat in meditation, the more that came up for us. And it was a point that we were really able to come to terms with what was happening in our lives, and we were really able to accept that. We had honestly recently started dating, and found out that we are having our daughter Florence, and it was such a pleasant surprise. But I think that it really helped with going into meditation and helping us accept what was, and it just allowed us to bring in those healing benefits that meditation has, and also helped us bring in so much joy for the present moment. So that was a really pivotal moment in our lives. And I think that we were able to, move forward in a strong way because of the practice of meditation that we were introduced to at the time.
That's so cool.
That's so
People
nice.
are so curious, I know, with Sarah and I about meditation, even when she's talking about it, we're talking about it. But a lot of people struggle. You guys probably hear this all the time. I can't meditate. I don't know how to meditate. How do I start meditating? Like, what could someone do if they just wanted to start a meditation practice?
Totally. We strongly believe in a consistent practice, and there's so many wonderful things that you can do to set up a strong practice in your home. There are some fantastic apps out there, but we also really love the community that's built around guided meditation in a group setting, and I think that helps with accountability. So, I mean, if you do want to start and you're new to meditation, then I would encourage starting or having like a place in your home where you can meditate on a regular basis. It can even be in your bedroom if you have a cushion, and just like a little area that's dedicated to the practice. And then starting really small. So like you said, Sarah, just a few minutes a day is a really great place to start, and it feels achievable. So you don't have to beat yourself up about it if you don't get around to it, or you find it really difficult to start small. What would you add to that?
I would add self accountability. So if you're gonna be doing it like do a record, make a record, like a journal. So like, you know, you are keeping accountable to your journal, do an entry, do some form of intention, like this is my intention on this meditation. So you are keeping, again, it doesn't need to be an hour long, doesn't need 2 hours long. If it's just 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes before bed, or 5 minutes in your day, you're just keeping yourself accountable with like a record almost. And it's not to show anyone, it's not for anything, it's just for yourself. So you know that you are making that commitment to yourself and keeping that promise to yourself as well.
Ooh,
And
I
it's
really
not
like that.
always if it's something you need out of it. I'm kind of understanding now that it might not be when you're feeling necessarily when you're down and dark. Like for Sarah, that's what got her kind of like really into it.
Well,
But
no, I wasn't down and dark
or
for the
sorry,
record. I
before
was,
you
yeah, I was
you're
like
stressed.
aware that that could be a risk. And I was like, I need to
Yeah.
take care of my mental well-being so I don't experience
Almost
that.
like preventative.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that even for me, it's like I'll meditate when I'm feeling extra crazy or extra stressed or anxious, but maybe it's something that, yeah, you just need to do it more consistently. So the journal, that is a great tip. I wrote that down actually. I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing that I learned just through like the practice of meditation slowly, was that meditation isn't just like something to heal like trauma or heal that pain. I love the fact that you can use meditation as a tool of a celebration of if something great happens in your life. It's a great way just to like take that time to kind of breathe and allow that moment to adhere more to yourself and to your soul, and then allow that to kind of keep going on. So
Sarah
I love
loves
that
that.
so much because I think that's so true. Like you have these moments where you are like radiating so high and
exactly.
and if you do actually stop to let yourself kind of feel that,
Yes. Yes.
it's
Yes.
like is
Pause.
imprinted on your soul in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way. Oh, damn. I love that so much.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like, we do turn to meditation for healing, but also it has this incredible ability to bring in more joy and enhance every experience in your life through mindfulness. And when you're just fully aware of what's happening around you, you get to really soak in those moments. And that's where so much joy can be brought into your life. So
Oh, I think that's such a nice, not flip, but just a nice reminder too. It's not just for healing or for anxiety or things like that. It's also just for enjoyment and celebrating. And oh God, my
That
heart.
might even be an easier way to start for some people that are listening and struggling when they're feeling really good or they had a good day. Do it off that note versus
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a sad
Exactly.
note.
Make it a high. Okay, I have a question, but I also have like a comment, and I forgot about this. When you said make a log, like that's such a good point, because I think when I was starting, I used to just write down at the end of my meditation like something I was thankful for.
Yes.
And then things started to come up when I would meditate, like ideas, and I would write those down once I was coming out of my meditation as
Right.
well. And that was like, again, that kind of ended up being my log, but it was a nice way to complete the meditation.
Yeah,
I totally
exactly.
forgot about that.
That's super cool. And with our guided meditations, we more times than not will create space at the end to write down what came up in your meditation, because within that stillness, there's so much goodness that can come out of it. So it's just really such a beautiful time to, write down the thoughts that you had, maybe any ideas. You're really creating space for yourself, and it allows you to bring in more creativity and so much goodness. So I think it's so important to always have a journal next to you to write down those golden nuggets that come up
Yes.
through that.
That's amazing.
For sure.
Yes, and gratitude is like, I don't know, I feel like we should always be ending with gratitude, no matter what, no matter how we're feeling. At the end of the day, at the end of a meditation, like, what are you grateful for in the moment? It's just the most beautiful practice.
I
That's
freaking love that. What kind of meditation do you guys like? Because I wanna you guys to kind of tell us more about the guided meditations, but there are different types of meditation. Are you guys
Yes.
doing guided meditations every day, or what are you like?
Right, absolutely. We do mindfulness meditation, but we also work with some other practitioners who delve a little bit deeper into the more spiritual side of meditations. So, working with different journeying practitioners that will help us go a little bit further through sound. But what we really like is mindfulness meditation. It just feels like it's so accessible to everyone. So we're able to, reach a wider audience and really come into the introductory level and show how meditation and mindfulness can show up in your everyday life. So it's really that mindfulness that we're really about, because it just makes everything seem more accessible.
And when you say mindfulness meditation, like what do you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I guess to describe mindfulness meditation, it's really about observing and noticing. So it's about being present in the moment, and being aware of what's happening internally and externally, without judgment. So it allows us to connect with our senses. It allows us to connect with our bodies and really accept what's happening in the now moment. And it's just about observation and noticing.
So when you say that, are you talking about just throughout your day in your everyday life, kind of getting into that state of mind? Like if you're cutting something, you're really being present and mindful.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, it's so hard to do.
I know. It's the hardest. It seems like such a simple idea, but in reality, it's difficult, and it does take a lot of practice.
Yeah. Even when I was walking yesterday, I was like hearing a bit of the wetness on my sneakers. I was like thinking about a million things. And I kept saying to myself, just think about walking. You're just walking. Just think about walking. But then your mind drifts.
It's so beautiful. I remember, and I feel like this is where little keys of mindfulness show up with our memory. After high school, I moved to Italy to be a nanny for an Italian family. And I remember when I first moved there, we were back in Florence, and I was going for a run around the city, and I was running up this big hill, and the leaves had like freshly fallen. And I remember like hearing the crunch of the leaves as I was running. And I just thought to myself, like, what a beautiful moment in memory. And that always sticks in my mind for some reason, just that vivid memory of where I was at that time and how I was feeling and my surroundings. And it's really stuck with me. And I think because I was being aware and noticing and mindful in that present moment, that little beautiful moment stuck with me for so long. And it always will.
Oh, that's really nice. And that's a good kind of testament to the power, I guess, of being present through these things as they actually stick with you.
Yes.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about, what is the experience of meditation? And even you can talk from because I know it's all unique, but maybe you guys can each share with us a little bit about your own experiences meditating and kind of how that has been of value for you.
Sure.
Yeah, it's definitely been a really cool tool. I always say like mindfulness is not a tool to change your life, but it's more a tool to help you advance the life you're living, advance the life you're living already. So it just allows you to be more aware, more in the moment of what you're doing. And I find it as a really good tool to help you understand the space in between. It's the space between an action and your reaction, which I think for me personally, through the journey of becoming a dad and learning what it means to be a parent and being very rooted in myself before I'm able to guide another human being in this world. I definitely needed to like understand myself and understand what that space in between was. So understanding how I receive things and then how I react to things. But that space in between for most people isn't a practice that's very common. So that space kind of happens in a split second, and you don't realize that space exists until you've done the reaction, and then you're like kind of like, oh, I wish I could have stopped for a little like longer just to process the whole thing. So that space in between and mindfulness and meditation, it just allows you to be calm in a setting that allows you to adhere to that, to listen, to breathe. And when that situation arises, then it's much easier to have that space in between last longer. So like especially when I'm trying to teach Flo or trying to guide Flo or trying to play with her in a certain way, and me and her butt heads sometimes. It's more of a thing where I have to understand, like, so many things are flashing in my mind of being, I'm her dad, I want to play with her. She's not doing it this way, she wants to do it this way. I'm the parent, but she's also the kid. She's also 2. I'm also 28. So there's like so many different things, but it just gives me that space to kind of breathe and be like, at the end of the day, like, we're not hurting anyone. She's not hurting anyone. She's just playing and having fun. So it's like, I want my reaction and I want my output and I want her to see me being able to deal with a stressful situation like this rather than like that.
Very cool. Why do you guys think meditation is so difficult?
I think it's often difficult to come to terms with what's happening in life. I mean, we often talk about the ebb and flow of life and how we're always in a cycle, and you know, if we're feeling emotion of joy, that's not going to last, and if we're feeling like angry or upset, we know that's only temporary. So I think that there's a lot of stuff in our society that we've been taught just to push down, and for a lot of people it might be difficult to come to terms with our past. It's also a thing with time, I think. And I would say that the biggest thing that we learned with the pandemic was truly the importance of slowing down. I mean, there's no denying that our society is so extremely busy. And I feel like it's a privilege to say this, but for us, we can say that we really had this amazing opportunity to truly slow down. And I do often say that I feel blessed that our business is meditation because we get to teach these tools, but it is difficult. It's a lot of work, and it feels like you never stop thinking about your business when you are an entrepreneur. But when it came time to the pandemic and slowing down, it really was an amazing reminder of like how important this practice is. Because, you know, we have this balance of being super busy and going all the time, and then we really need to intentionally slow down. And this is where a concept that we created called Go, Slow, Flow. And it's really about this window of mindfulness that we have between, you know, hypoarousal, which is, you know, the slow and intentional, versus the hyperarousal, you're a lot of stimulus in your life, and that window in between, if you think of a scale between 1 and 10, the 4, 5, and 6 in the middle, that's where you flow and that's where you flourish. So it's about finding that balance to reach, you know, optimal levels of performance, or, you know, finding the most joy in life is through that balance. And so I think that's what came through really strongly for us with the practice.
Ooh. And is that kind of that flow space that you're talking about, Jonathan, is that like the space that you were talking about and the spaces in between?
Yeah, it's kind of like that space that after you've kind of received everything, you're able to kind of like grow and sit with it and be uncomfortable and allow it to, you know, shake you up in ways that you didn't know it would, and just like face it and then approach it with like a new found sense of understanding or calm.
It's like the experience of the moment.
Yes.
And before you react. Okay.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love that.
I love what you said there, Autumn, too, because I find that people will sit and make 20 minutes, 30 minutes, probably hours to watch TV or go on their phone as like a distraction, but they're not really seeing that time as valuable to sit and be by themselves, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? They just kind of like say, no, I don't have time to do that. I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
I'm guilty of that.
Like, there's so many distractions in our society. You know, it's so easy to just like scroll, and, you know, time will fly. We don't even realize how much time we're spending. Or we sit down and we watch, you know, Netflix, whereas that's still a distraction. You're still not creating that space for yourself to be with yourself and your thoughts. So it is, of course, nice and to sit down and, you know, use our devices, but I think that we really will truly reap the most benefits when we do intentionally create a little bit of space just for ourselves with the most limited distractions that we can.
Mm.
Do you
And I
guys
want,
meditate? Sorry, Sarah, at a certain time of day? Does it matter if it's morning or night? I've heard mixed things about either.
I personally love meditating at night. We definitely do
That's
both.
so funny. I'm very much a morning person.
Yes, I always like to wind down at the end of the day, and I'll always meditate before I go to bed and reflect on the day. And um, going back to those journaling prompts, I always like to ask myself what sparked any anxiety throughout my day, what sparked fear, what sparked joy, and always like finalizing with what I'm grateful for. And then I love meditating before I go to bed and just creating that space for myself.
oh,
So
and
nice.
Jonathan, you're a morning meditator?
Yeah, I'm more of in the morning. It starts my day off as like a cup of coffee. It kind of allows me to set my intention. So like throughout the day, I kind of have my intention of the day that I kind of want to get done, or I'll try to embody this intention in all my actions. If I'm working, if I'm talking to someone, if it's being ambitious, if it's being creative, I'll be sure to sprinkle that on, or like try to remember to be a little bit more of that quality intention. And yeah, it's just like a great way to kind of like start my day off and see like what do I want to get done and what my goals are for that day. So we're very like reverse of each other, where I like starting my day and she likes to wind her day down with it. So
Yeah,
it's
Jonathan's
cool.
always really good. In the morning, he'll allow me to have some extra sleep, and he normally gets up with our daughter Florence, and he'll set the intention for the day and make lists. He's really good at making lists and saying, okay, what do we need to get done today? What's priority? What are our intentions?
Yeah.
So it's really nice to have that
What
balance, and then we also are able to move in and out of mom and dad duties. We'll take over and give each other some time.
that's nice. What does Florence think of meditation? Does she try?
She is the cutest. She always wants to be involved. Um, so whenever we have, a virtual session, she'll want to be involved. And so we always try to do a little session with her. And then when we do pop-up sessions, she often likes to come and help set up. And if we ask her what meditation is, she's just like, takes her deep breaths and understands the importance of being calm. And whenever any of us are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, she'll say, Mommy, it's okay, just take a deep breath.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I love that.
I always say it's super interesting to have, like, I wish my mom and dad were involved in this world too, just in a cool way, because to see her have parents who are in that and have that world around her, and she knows what like meditation means. She knows when mom and dad go to do a meditation, comes up, she goes, how's your meditation? Like, were people calm? Like, everything else. So it's cool to see her understanding it more, to the point where like I want to see what the effects it has in her, like interacting with other kids and like being, like very generous and kind and everything else. It's super cool to see just a child at her age adhering to the practice, so like at her own pace.
I find her observation skills, I don't know if it's typical or not, I'm probably very biased, but I just find her so curious. And when we're out for a walk, she's always noticing things, and she'll find the moon in the middle of the day and she'll be like, Mommy, look, the moon. She gets super excited. And I just find that she has such a lovely presence about her, and she's so curious and always observing. And I'm sure that's her age, but we also like encourage questions and ask her to connect with her senses and notice what's coming up. So she's very open, and I feel so lucky to have her. She's just so wonderful.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
safe to
nice.
say we are jealous of our own kid.
Totally.
Well, I think that's such a nice question too that you brought up, Ash, because it's like, Jonathan, you've talked about how meditation impacts you in your parenting and just allowing you to be kind of more aware in that. And then actually having Florence kind of taking part, like, how can parents start bringing their kids into meditation? And because she's 2, so she's young.
Yeah.
She's 2, and there's so many great little exercises that you can do. And I think, you know, it starts for us around the dinner table. We always try our best to sit down together at the table and talk about, you know, what the highlight of the day was. A cute way for kids is to talk about, you could ask like what the apple or onion was. So, you know, what a good thing about your day was, or what something that wasn't so pleasant. And I think that really allows kids to get reflecting. But then, you know, if you set up a little cushion and seat, and then you could just start with a simple meditation and allow your children to notice what it feels like to notice simply your breathing. And then you could ask if kids could pick up on what they notice in the room, what they hear, what they smell, what they taste. And it's just really honing in on those skills and allowing them to experience that.
I'm with you, Jonathan. I wish someone would have taught me these things.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Those are such great tools to teach at a young age. It's so
But
cool.
I feel like you're learning them now, Ash, and you can do these
You can teach me like a child.
You know,
Oh
like
my
if you're
gosh.
ever feeling overwhelmed and you're upset, you know, like looking at your children and letting them know it's okay. They're going to be okay. And I feel that eye contact is so important. And if children ever feeling upset, what I always like to do with Flo is, you know, like let her know that she's okay and ask her if she can notice her heartbeat. And then if her heart is feeling extra fast, then slowing it down through her breath. So just saying like, you know, take a nice, deep, long inhale and exhale and breathe with her. And with slowing down her breath, then her heart rate will also slow down, and it allows, you know, peace and calm throughout.
I'm breathing deeply right now.
Well, I think these are great tips for all of us, which is like, you're saying these for Florence. I'm like, ooh, I like that when I'm feeling amped up. I should use that.
For sure. We definitely use them too.
And that's a great tip, because if people are at work or at their desk or doing whatever and they can't, maybe at a traffic light and they have road rage, I don't know, but they can't physically go into a meditation, just to like, be aware, take some deep breaths, calm your mind.
Yes.
One of the things I do want to talk about, because I think we've kind of touched on this, and I just would like to know if you guys can expand on it a bit. Like, I find the time, like for people who do have a meditation practice, the times that I'm avoiding it or maybe skipping it are usually the times when I need it most. And I think you guys have each kind of talked about it. It's like when I maybe don't want to hear what I have to say, or like hear what's coming up for me.
Deal
Have you
with
guys
it.
yeah. Have you guys experienced any of that at all?
Totally. And I think that it's really important to know that you're always in choice. And that's a huge point for us, is that no matter like where we are, what we're guiding, we want everyone to feel that they have a choice in the position that they place their body in, whether that's, you know, sitting up or lying down or whatever is accessible to them. But the way that we guide meditations, we want it to be like an invitation. So we never want anyone to feel forced, because, you know, sometimes it's not the time or place to sit with your deep-rooted emotions. So I think that it's really important to just acknowledge what's happening with yourself. And if it's not the time, you know, it's allowing that to go for the moment and being okay with it, and not, you know, getting upset with yourself that you're not ready to deal with whatever it is, and that the time will come. So just being kind to yourself is really.
That's a very helpful perspective, because I think I do that sometimes where I notice like, oh damn, I don't want to deal with this. But even just like what you said, Autumn, like as long as I can acknowledge that and say like, okay, there is something here I'm avoiding, I don't have to deal with this right now, but I at least want to be aware that, okay, yeah, I'm avoiding something. Maybe over the next few days I can work myself into
Exactly.
Dealing
And
with
like the
it.
thing I always say is just to make sure that you understand that you are entitled to feel how you feel. Like that's your right. You are entitled, like you are valid in feeling how you feel. And if in that time you don't feel like meditation is going to be the best tool for you, then like that is your God-given right.
And do you guys recommend that? Because I'm thinking about, I'm being selfish right now. I mean, like Sarah says, this is our podcast, so that's what we're here to be all about. But I'm thinking about after, I'm like, I really need to do a meditation. But do you recommend for most people, and I'm still like newer, should I be kind of using the guided meditations to help guide me because it's harder for me to sit and be still? I think that's why I avoid meditating, is because I'm like, I don't know how. So are guided ones like YouTube, the app's the best way to
There's
kind
so
of like
for sure.
try?
There's
Okay.
so many amazing apps out there, and I think that for beginners, it's a really great way to begin.
Okay.
Ooh, I want to expand on that because I recently, this girl I follow talked about this recently, and I thought it was an interesting perspective. I just would love to hear what you guys think. She talked about like guided meditations are really good, but but at some point you're going to get to a point where you need to go deep or like go deeper. And I don't, and her perspective is like, that's when you maybe need to take a step back from a guided meditation or maybe do a more tailored one. And maybe that's something where it's like working with you guys. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a great place to begin, but also, depending on what you need in the moment, if you're really working like through forgiving someone, then it's great to come up with, you can search through apps on something specific. But I do think it's really powerful when you are able to get to a point to lead yourself. So I think that again, it comes down to balance and being able to do that. Another thing that I find beneficial when leading myself is writing out a script in the beginning, just like looking at, what you want to deal with, writing it out, and then using that as like a bit of a framework that when you're actually in meditation, you can come back to what you want to practice. I find that helpful for myself.
Could you give an example of that? Just because I'm like, because I do like nothing when I'm, well, not that I don't do anything, but I have like I don't know. I'm going to just call it a prayer for lack of a better word, because I really don't know what to call it at the start. Like something I just like say to myself and then I kind of just go on my way. But could you give us an example of like what setting kind of intention is?
Sure. I think it's really nice to start with an observation. So you can look for something internally or externally. So just, to ground yourself from, being in a state of doing to just transitioning into the meditation to just simply being. A really good way to transition is through just a simple observation of the room or a bodily sensation, and then connecting with your breath and just maybe taking a few deep breaths and then allowing yourself or your breath to fall back into its natural rhythm. And then I always like to do a body scan. So, starting either from your feet, working your way up slowly, giving each body part that needs it a moment of time and acknowledgement. Or you can go from your head, perhaps envision white light filling yourself up with some beautiful pureness and healing energy. So it really depends what it is. I would recommend, an intention. So if there's this particular way that you want to feel or something that you want to let go of, taking some time throughout the meditation to invite that in, or take some time and space to let something go. And then, as mentioned before, I love ending with gratitude. So that's kind of like a structure how we typically like to set things up. And then you can really tailor it to your needs at the moment, in the moment.
Ooh,
That's
I really
really
like
good
that.
tip. Yeah.
Good.
And I want to say to anyone listening that's thinking about meditation or and a guided meditation at that, is listening to the voice is or finding a voice to listen to, is very important. So I've started
That you
on
like.
different, so if you kind of think, oh, I don't like this, it doesn't feel good, I would encourage people to keep trying, because it took me a while to find some voices and the way that people speak that felt good to me. I don't think everyone's voice and kind of framework. No. And I think that's, something you just kind of have to try.
It's like finding a good therapist,
Yeah.
It takes a few
It's not going to just click. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is totally fair. I mean, this will sound like a plug, but you guys both have lovely voices. And when I sat in and like you guys were guiding, I was like, this is beautiful, because it is something that's very like a good point. And no offense to the guy with the
Headspace.
the
I know you hate
Headspace
his
app.
voice.
I can't stand his voice. It is like goes
But
through
they
me
have different voices now.
now, but
Yeah.
people really like his voice. But that I could never use that app because his voice used to drive me insane. And like, so like, but you guys have such great voices, which is lovely. And do you guys have like recorded meditations, or is this something that exists?
Yeah, during quarantine, we did release a couple. So I think we have 4 up there, 4 or 3 up there.
Where can we find those?
They're going to be
website?
on our Instagram live videos.
Okay.
So they're under a series.
Yes. And then we also have some recorded meditations on the Take 10 app, which is
okay. We know them. That's
Great.
awesome.
Amazing. And then we will also have some recorded meditations coming up in a couple of months on an undisclosed app that we're super excited about. So stay tuned.
So exciting.
Oh my God. When you guys get that one out, you're going to have to let us know, because we'll share it with everyone. And that's great that people are able to actually go and get some of your guided meditations right now. One of the other things, like, okay, so I have 2, Ashley's going to kill me. Like, this is it. I'm just going to go on forever. But okay. I just want to recap for everyone kind of how they can start meditating, because I know people are at different stages. Like some people do it intermittently, some people do it every day, and it's nice to try something new. And some people have never done it but might be interested. So what is like a good time to start at? Like 5 minutes or longer, shorter?
5 minutes is a great starting place. And if you're finding it too difficult, for your first time, don't worry about it. If it ends up being 3 minutes, then I think that's worth celebrating.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is carving out the time to actually do a mindfulness activity. So if you can take that time out of your day and be like, I'm going to dedicate this 10 minutes to me, and it ends up only being a 2-minute thing, you still made the conscious decision to carve out 10 minutes, go sit in that room or that space for 10 minutes, and then try for 10 minutes. And then like, that's what it was. And then just like the whole goal is consistency.
Working yourself up.
Okay. And how long do you guys meditate for now every day? Or do you meditate every day?
Actually, a magic number that that I learned about. And the magic number, actually, would anyone like to guess what the magic number of like
17?
Very, very interesting.
I should know this.
I thought it was 17 too, is what came to my mind.
Sarah.
Okay.
Our intuition vibes are.
Yes. 27 minutes is scientifically proven to be that like key number. 27 minutes per day.
Do you set a timer, or how do you know?
Yeah, so through my meditation teacher training, which was through the Lab of Meditation in Vancouver with Hiroko de Michelis, a part of our training was to meditate for 27 minutes every day. And in the beginning, I found it difficult. So I would break it up. I do, like half in the morning, half at night, and then was able to work my way up. So yeah, it's either like setting a timer or finding a recorded meditation for that length of time.
Okay. I think that's actually a game, or that was a game changer for me, was setting a timer, because then my mind didn't wander. It was like, I knew when the time was up. I was
well, that's what I find good about some of the like the apps and things like that, because if you pick the 5 minute, 10, 20, that once it's over, it kind of brings you back out of it and you're not too lost for time. But some of the sleep ones don't, which I love, because they just like keep playing music and you just fall asleep.
Yes, exactly. I know Florence woke up in the middle of the night the other night and she was having so much trouble falling back to sleep, and then I was having so much trouble, so I turned on a meditation for the both of us, and it honestly, she fell back to sleep so quickly. I was so surprised. It was really nice.
I love hearing that. So 27 minutes. I didn't know. I'm going to have to try that tomorrow. I'm so excited.
Let us know how it goes.
I will. I'm so amped. And do you guys have any tips for people like setting up a space in their home or wherever they want to meditate? Because I
For
think
sure. Do you
Is
want
there anywhere you should not meditate?
Well, I'd say like most definitely like a place like free of distractions, like somewhere that you can close off, like somewhere where you can like separate yourself. Again, not mandatory, but if you can, a space that is comfortable and welcoming. So like for yourself, I know that changes for a lot of people, but if you walk into a space and it's warm, it's soft, it's inviting, there's some candles, it smells good, then like it's easier to not be distracted or drawn in by all the things around you. If there's a radio, a TV, or anything else, so like stuff like that, I'd say for sure.
Yeah, I love that idea of setting up a special space. So, if you want to put a blanket underneath, and then if you have your meditation cushion for the top, if there's anything specific, I find it really helpful to have an object of focus. So I have a nice little collection of pebbles. Some people like crystals that they hold on to really help dive into the meditation. Candles are so lovely. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a big space. It doesn't have to be its own room. It can just be a little corner somewhere in your house that will free you of distractions. And then we always like to set it up with some nice like essential oils and plants and
soft music.
I want to come to your guys' meditation corner. This sounds like heaven.
Yes, it's nice. And another thing that I have to admit is I actually love meditating in the tub too. So, if you set up like a nice bath for yourself with some nice bath salts and candles, all that good stuff, I find it a really lovely place to meditate.
That's a touchy subject for Sarah and I.
Okay.
we are down for this. Like we love tubs, but neither of us have a bathtub right now, and we are like heartbroken on it.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I
know.
Totally get that.
We're going to change that soon.
I actually sat in the hot tub. I'm in Newfoundland right now, and it's a bit cool. This morning, it was like 15 or 16 degrees. Then it got hot, but I sat in the hot tub this morning and did a mini meditation there. So I'm doing okay right now. I love that. That sounds luxurious.
Yes, it is. It is for sure.
I need a space because sometimes I sit in this chair behind me, which is in kind of my office den area, but I find that, my computer, it's too much work mode right here. So maybe if I try sitting somewhere else just to see if that makes a difference. That's a good point.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Also, bed is a great place.
Okay, I do sometimes meditate in bed, and I didn't know if that's
totally
bad.
Yes, that's totally okay. I mean, it's like if you want to try not to fall asleep, then you might find it more beneficial to sit up, but you can totally still sit up in your bed if you want. Or if you wake up first thing in the morning, you're just like, I would love to start my day with a nice awakening meditation.
Sarah.
Totally.
I will say when I'm being extra luxurious, I'll meditate in my bed. But to your point, like my meditation nook is literally under my stairs. Like I'll post a photo on Instagram.
It's so cool.
I would love to see
because it's tiny. Like it's literally underneath the stairs. I've got my cushion. It's so cozy. Like I love it. But it's a good point. Like you don't need a big space at all.
Not at all.
No. And I just have one more question about sitting. I know that, or position for meditating, that a lot of people have, there's meditation pillows specifically you can buy, but there's such an importance of grounding. So do you have to physically sit on the ground or on a pillow on the ground or a chair? I mean, I know you just said bed, but am I supposed to sit on my yoga mat or should I sit in the chair? Or is it just whatever is comfortable for you?
Yeah, it's totally what is accessible to you and what feels right. If you are feeling like you really want to be grounded, then it is nice to sit in an upright position with your hands.
Is that one there that you have?
Yeah, we do.
So I have a cushion right here, and what we normally tell people is to use the front of the cushion here as like a dip, and use the back of this cushion here as kind of the support. So you almost like make a little scoop for yourself and use that kind of as like your back support.
Ooh,
that's a good tip because it's kind of a beanbag material. Is that what it sounds like? Okay.
It's filled with buckwheat hulls.
Very fun. I've got a pillow like that, Ash. I'll give it to you.
And I'm drinking my Flo water. There's so
I
many.
noticed.
It's spelled, well, Flo, but I mean, and then it clicked when you were talking about Florence and then your daughter,
Yes.
Florence, and then Flo. And I was like, oh, this makes so much sense now.
We're into all the
Overboard.
flowing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I love
We're
that.
just obsessed with flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Florence,
That's
Italy, our daughter, our
So
business,
good.
being in the flow,
Everything.
yes.
positive psychology.
Oh,
Such a great name
It-
and so many
It
meanings for
slowly
you
starts
guys.
to bleed out everywhere. Like
Yeah.
it just becomes like kind of like the amount of times I said, "Oh, just go with the flow," and not even realizing, I'm like, "Oh man, like that's gonna get."
Florence is gonna be hyper aware when she gets older.
Oh my
Yes.
god, I know.
So good. This has been so lovely.
I know. So before we wrap, guys, can you tell us a little bit about the experience that Flow Meditation offers and how people can work with you guys?
Sure, absolutely. So you can find us at different studios throughout DHRM. So you can keep in touch through Instagram, which is at Flow FLO Meditation, where we will post our schedule. And then we are also open to private events. We've actually done like weddings in the past, or not weddings per se, but like bridal parties, before the big wedding. We'll go in. I've gone in with the bridal party to guided meditation to help, bring a sense of calm and invite more awareness into this special day. And then we do corporate. So we offer in office as well as virtual corporate sessions. And then before the pandemic, we were working with a lot of sports teams, which has been really cool, but that's been on hold.
Yeah.
But schools and universities. So if there's anything that you feel we can apply meditation to, then we're totally here for that and can really cater to the needs of anyone. And our mission is really to make meditation accessible. So that's why we will go anywhere and can cater to all needs.
And we're definitely into the social justice aspect of
Very good.
of bringing the community together and definitely like working towards a goal, like a common goal of like helping or unity or changing the narrative on some topics.
I love that. And can people book one-on-one sessions with you guys if they want to do a deep dive?
Yep.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're just getting into it, and we can do almost like a one-on-one consultation, see where you're at and see how we can help get you into the flow.
I'm
Amazing.
100% want to do this because this is we're both going to do this because I will say Jess Babin, who's been on our podcast, I think she was our third episode, and then she's our wine expert. We do wine events with her all the time, but she had a session with you guys that she said was like a massive breakthrough for her, and she just like raves about you guys.
We love Jess Babin.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
So
Sarah,
so
I'm
awesome.
picturing when you get married, there's going to be a group meditation for the
I'm
bridal,
sorry.
or probably for the whole crowd, like everyone,
Every
probably
day.
twice. Yeah,
It'll
I
be
can't
the
wait.
most incorporated. You said that, I was like, that sounds beautiful. I want to do that.
We'll bring you guys
Yes.
along.
Sure.
We'll find a man, then we'll be set to go.
Yeah.
I love this.
Awesome.
Guys, before we wrap, we're going to play a game of Westigrams. It's our favorite part of the show.
Okay.
It's a made up game, so don't be stressed.
Okay.
So I was like, what's that?
I'm like, I didn't practice.
No need to practice. It's super easy. All you have to do, because we're in our virtual studio, is pick a number between 1 and 88. And
Okay.
I will ask you a question. You guys can each go, and then Ash and I will go. And it's just kind of a fun little rapid fire.
Okay.
Cool. So do we each pick a separate number, or
Yeah, you each pick a
Yeah.
separate number. Who wants to go first?
Go.
Me? Okay. I'm ready.
Pick a number
number.
between 1 and 89, actually.
Got it.
What is it?
Oh, it's it.
Oh yeah, I have to tell you.
It's not
I was
not
like,
a guessing
magic.
game.
Okay, I'm ready.
Imagine if we guessed it.
I'm imagining 27.
Me too.
Good. It's 43.
43. Let's see what we got in store for 43 today. All right. Here, I always have a real hard time. Okay. What is the one thing that you wish you could unknow?
Ooh.
Wow.
Do I have to share this?
Oh yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
tell us the answer. We're really big fans on going with gut instinct.
Okay, wish I could unknow.
That's a good one.
Can I think about it for a moment?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can think about it for a moment.
Jonathan, yours might not be that tough, so don't.
This
I know.
is like
I'm like, oh God.
no, that's the
Some of them
hardest
are-
Number
one.
I wish that
43.
I could unknow.
Sarah, tell her what yours is usually, or you had a really good one for this one.
I have the one that's coming to mind right now. There's always different things. Actually, I'll tell you something that my naturopath told me today was that on average, a human eats 240 spiders in their lifetime while they're like sleeping.
240.
And I thought, I didn't want to know
heard
that.
And is that really true? I've heard that and thought it was fake.
Ugh. So stuff like that. The one thing I truly wish I could unknow, and I always say this, and for our longtime listeners, we love you guys. There is a scene when the mountain in Game of Thrones, when the mountain crushes Oberon's skull.
I didn't think that's what you were going to say.
Well, that's the one that is like a memory burned in my brain that I have forever been like, I really wish I could unsee this.
Oh my gosh. Trying to think. This is so hard.
Okay. Autumn.
Mine would be that like sugar, or that food is bad for you that can make you fat. You know what I mean? Like that you could just eat as much sugar or as much whatever and it would be fine.
Mine are like so disturbing. Okay, Autumn, just pause on that and percolate.
Can I come
We're gonna
back?
hop to
Yes.
Jonathan. We're gonna do his.
Okay.
What number would you like?
89.
89. Let's see what you
Well,
got.
that's a new one.
All right. What does a typical Saturday night look like?
Saturday night, typical. Okay.
Tell us with a 2-year-old.
Typical Saturday night. It's so boring. Like, I'm such a boring guy now.
Thanks a lot.
No, it's just it's me going to work and me coming home, and
We have a nice romantic end.
we're at candlelit dinner. We throw each other through trapeze and catch each other. Saturday night used to be just a day like for us that we would just like, it'd be like a date night. Like before we had Flo, our Saturdays were like kind of our days to it was my way of taking Autumn around the city and showing her pieces of Vancouver that she's never seen before. So,
Are you from Vancouver? Did you grow up there?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So like that was like super fun. Saturdays now are super fun. Are really interesting because I get to work, and always the dynamic of having a child changes up your whole perspective. When like my Saturdays used to be this, but like I'm totally okay with my Saturdays being what they are now because I get to go home to like a little girl who's super excited to see you, and like it's like you don't really need that old Saturday feeling. You're just kind of like cool with like more of the question of what can my Saturdays become now. Like my Saturdays now are filled with like a little girl who is waking me up at like 8 o'clock in the morning on my face, and I'm like
Cartoons, maybe.
Autumn's like, I'm here too for Saturday night dinners.
Yeah, light the candles.
This is about Flo. Relax.
Autumn, have you thought of anything you want to unknow?
Do you know what? I'm finding this extremely difficult because I honestly want to know everything. And I feel like everything that I've thought of, I'm like, no, but I feel it's important to know that. So like, for example, I thought of, I wish that I didn't know how many people were racist, for example. And then it's like, that's really important to know though. So I should know this. So I think that's why I'm finding this question difficult.
But that's okay. Like, this is kind of the amusement of this question. It's like the thought process you go through and the things that like come up for you. So I think we're going to give you that as your answer.
Okay.
And the other one that we're just going to shoot you right now is coffee or tea. Would you pick coffee or tea?
I would pick coffee.
Really?
I'm guessing you would like both of them a lot.
Yes, I do like both of them a lot.
Yeah.
Amazing. Ash, do you want to pick a Westigram?
Yeah, I want to go with 27, just since that's like the magic number for meditation.
Ooh, cool.
Okay, 3 essentials that you have in your fridge or cupboards.
Oh, I love this one. Right now, it's looking bad because I've been away so much. I always have bananas most often. And I want to say rice cakes or crackers and nut butter. Like those are just like right now I didn't eat supper and that's probably what I'm going to slap together as a snack.
I love that.
It's
I'm gonna
always
whip.
handy.
You know what? I want that right now because I haven't had dinner.
So good. Me either.
We're terribly late eaters. It's 10:15 where I am. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna wrap up with number 54. What is your favorite dessert? I just want to share this week. I recently made a fruit flan, which is like
I saw that. I saw that.
Mhm.
That looked really good.
So good.
it was so good. It's a shortbread a shortbread crust with like a cream cheese filling and fresh fruit on top. And I haven't had that in years. And I have to tell you, everyone go make it. Seriously.
That looked so
Yum.
professional. And I was like, then you took like the egg whites and you're wiping the egg whites. I was like, gee, that looks incredible.
Sarah loves to bake. She's really good into it.
I love to eat.
It's my jam. Guys, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight or today and sharing with us all about meditation and what you guys are creating.
No
Super
worries.
helpful. I took away so many tips. So I know all of our listeners are going to be really happy to hear how to start because that's the hardest thing. So thank you guys so much.
It really is.
Super fun.
It's been such an honor to be on. Thank you so much for making the time for us.
We love it.